Hello there and welcome back to Let's Play Battlefield 1942. On today's bonus episode we have the Battle of Britain. And this time around, let me see if I can team switch. Okay, it's letting me. I'm going to play Battle of Britain on the Allied side. As I mentioned in the Axis version of this map, the Germans really ought to win this map regardless of how well the Allies do, as long as the Germans are somewhat competent. And the most important feature of that competence would be to attack the factory first while it's relatively undefended, and then get the radar towers afterward, because if you let the British save the factory for last, then they can all kind of gang up on it and repair it all at once. Yeah, some guy told us not to all go to the airfield, and me and another guy going to the airfield said roger that. Sarcastic radio message there. Since I know that there's really no way that I can force the Germans to lose this map, I'm just going to cause as much trouble to them as I possibly can in the best way that I know how, and that would be base camping. This is a map where you often have an exception for base camping. They'll allow it since the Germans' job is to bomb the base, the flags and the spawns where the British are. The British are usually allowed to go ahead and base camp the Germans. We've already got a number of Allied planes over there, which is a little bit unusual. I guess more than one person has the idea of harassing the Axis over here. It's kind of cool. The British guy who bailed out of his plane over there had apparently managed to have his plane land on top of the hangar. Usually they crash like that. This is kind of a fun trick over here. The German bombers, the heavy bombers, spawn within a hangar. On this one, there's also one that spawns outside the hangar. And you just spawn in there and you start using the... It's not a tail gun because it's firing in front, but there are 3 different guns on the German heavy bomber. They're very, very powerful. And you can just kind of hangar camp in here. If they fire weapons at you, your plane will heal itself because it's in the hangar. Although I believe in future patches, including this one that I'm playing under, the healing only takes place if you're sitting within the cockpit of the plane. Originally, this was just as effective as, almost as effective as hangar camping with a tank back in the old days, when it would allow you to repair a tank within a hangar. They're really having bad aim with those bazookas, but they keep spawning in. It's a 5-second respawn time, so you can just get people obsessed with the fact that you're in here and kill them over and over and over again, including right after they spawn. The smart people in this position on the German side, and here you can see the repair, the Germans can just spawn over on the right side and just ignore you pretty much. It's difficult to take down a plane with those guns, but there you go. In this version, I think this was added in a later patch, there's a guy honking at me to go in there. This is one of the few Jeeps in the games that has a horn that you can honk just by clicking the left button. In a later version of this game, including this patch, one bazooka to the cockpit will destroy the bomber plane. Originally it took several bazookas, and with the auto repair, man, that's annoying. With the auto repair, the plane would just go on and on and on. Very difficult to take down. You can also try to attack the German you can attack the person who's using the German heavy bomber's guns, because the guns are not shielded like the cockpit is. it looks like we've still got most of our spawns, if not all of them, still active there. So the Germans are probably being very ineffective. It may be that the harassment we're doing at their main base is slowing them down a bit, but it's probably just lack of coordination. Nevertheless, you can see on the German ticket bleed there, which is the automatic one, they've got a lot of opportunities to kind of get their act together and make a comeback. Now the second time you do this trick on the same round, the enemies that you kill are much more likely to have it figured out. They actually knocked down that plane. So when they see me doing this for the second time, they should be able to knock me out much more quickly than last time. Okay, I think I heard... Yeah, when you hear a metal clank like that, it means somebody snuck in there and started laying X-packs, most likely. And as you can see, I didn't get nearly as many kills that time around. So, if I manage to get over there again... Man, that guy killed my ride. If I get over there a third time, I'm going to rely more on the medic's machine gun and do kind of a traditional base camp. You may have noticed that little green circle going around the radar tower. It's just an indicator that it shows you a little kind of a spawn point looking icon to indicate a friendly or hostile vehicle. The radars don't extend out far enough to be useful, and the fact that they don't distinguish between friendly and hostile, in fact they show the same icon if there's a Jeep in the area. It's just always easier just to use your own eyes as opposed to relying on the radar. I think if the radar extended maybe twice or even 3 times as far out, it would be a lot more useful. As is, the radar tower is just another anti-aircraft gun that's somewhat shielded. People are really making use of these horns today for some reason. Wow. And it looks like that plane is just barely going to make it over the hill. The planes are very good at taking off from strange locations. I see a lot of hostile bomber activity, but unless they're all focusing on the factory while they have the opportunity to do that without us repairing en masse, then they're still going to be in trouble. And I'd really expect them to have destroyed more of the radar towers. I think they've gotten down only 1 or 2. But still, the Germans have quite a few tickets, so they've still got a lot of time to regroup and do something useful together. Stay tuned for part 2.